Aslan for Aslan Media. It's Friday, February 11th, and today is the day in which the Egyptian people, after 3 weeks of fighting for their most basic rights and privileges, have finally won the day. Hosni Mubarak has fled Cairo. He's on his way to Sharm el-Sheikh, where he'll be holed up for who knows how long. And while we don't know what's going to happen with this transition in Egypt, we do know that if Egypt can figure out a way to create a stable democratic society that values pluralism, values religious freedoms, the freedoms of speech, and yet also allows room for religious groups like the Muslim Brotherhood, groups who are willing to put down their guns and pick up ballots and take part in the democratic process. If Egypt can make this work, then the rest of the region is going to be transformed. As Egypt goes, so goes the Middle East. But of course, this is also the day in which Iranians are celebrating the 32nd anniversary of their own revolution, in which they kicked out an American-backed dictator, the Shah of Iran. Now, what happened in Iran after the Shah left was quite disastrous. In the immediate aftermath, amongst the chaos, the vacuum of power that occurred, the religious groups, the clerical leadership, which played a pivotal role in bringing people out onto the streets to get rid of the Shah in the first place, took over control of the country, and the rest, as you know, is history. The thing that's fascinating for a lot of people is they're wondering if this movement that truly did begin in Iran in 2009 with the Green Movement, which if nothing else set the paradigm through which young people around the region now recognize that you don't need a leader in order to bring people out onto the streets, that the monopoly over the levers of communication that these authoritarian regimes hold on to can be broken if you have Facebook, if you have Twitter, if you have YouTube. That paradigm that the Iranian people in the Green Movement set for the rest of the region, which is now catching on in Egypt, in Algeria, in Tunisia, in Yemen, in Syria, in Jordan, etc., etc. What a lot of us are waiting for to see is whether that will go back to Iran, whether the success of the Egyptian people and the Tunisian people will re-energize the Green Movement, will rekindle the demonstrations for reform in Iran. That remains to be seen. Certainly the leaders of the Green Movement have taken responsibility for what's going on in Egypt. Mir Hussein Mousavi, the erstwhile leader of the Green Movement, has said quite openly that what's happened in Egypt was a direct result of what the Green Movement managed to do through their blood and sacrifice. At the same time, looking at Iran today, it becomes very clear that what we're seeing is a government that has become even more oppressive, even more of a police state since those demonstrations of 2009. What happens from here? Today, as the Iranian regime celebrates its 32nd anniversary of the Islamic Republic, they are going to make a number of statements claiming that they stand in solidarity with the Egyptian people. The Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has gone so far as to say that the Egyptian uprising is an Islamic revolution, which Egyptians have completely rejected, even the Muslim Brotherhood. But I do think that there has to be an eye now on Iran, and there has to be some fear amongst the Iranian regime that the success of Egypt and the way that these Egyptians recognized that if they hold firm, if they get the international community on their side, if they refuse to engage in violence, then they can make fundamental changes in their societies. This is something that the Iranian regime should be scared to death of. Because as an Iranian, I'll tell you, if there's one thing Persians cannot stand, is being outdone by Arabs. So watch out, Khamenei, watch out, Ahmadinejad, because if this works in Egypt, you are next. For Aslan Media, this is Reza Aslan.